This is interesting. As the Phoenix Suns have wrapped up their summer league, finishing 2-3, we have seen some bright spots from some of these players. David Roddy looks like he can be contributable. Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro, the two rookies, look like they can be impacts. And Isaiah Wong could be that untapped potential, that diamond in the rough for this Suns team. We're gonna be diving into all the summer league stuff, plus what Isaiah Wong could be for this Suns team. All of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I'm Bruce Velez. Before we get into all this news though, 79% of you guys who watch our videos are not subscribed. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on the daily Phoenix Suns content coming to you guys, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, as this is the place for you. I know we've been slacking the last couple of days. I was on vacation, was away the last couple of days, but I will be back making sure that we get daily uploads for you guys. So we are sticking to that. Without further ado, let's dive into the topic at hand. Make sure to grab a snack. We're going to be talking about some summer league standouts. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Like I mentioned in the introduction, the Phoenix Suns have finally finished their summer league. Today, there are some playoffs kind of going into implications, but the Suns are done. They played all four of their schedules games, got a consolation game in fairness to the Sacramento Kings, and they finished the summer league at 8-2-3. After starting off 0-2, not the worst kind of outcome you could see from the Phoenix Suns. In their last three games, went 2-1, went against a tough Kings team in their final consolation game, and we saw some bright spots from this team, and we saw some negative spots for this team. So we're gonna be diving in, looking at those bright spots, looking at what could be some potential risers for the Suns, some guys that could potentially make this Suns G League roster. As we all know, now that the Suns have a G League, now they could bring some of these guys in and sign them to Exhibit 10 days or Exhibit 9s and translate them to there. So let's get into this. I know you guys want to get out all the information. First off, we're going to be looking at the game versus the Golden State Warriors. If you guys forgot, it was a couple weeks ago on the 13th, the Suns got absolutely obliterated by the Golden State Warriors. Warriors did have some players like Brandon Podjemski and some guys who have played in the NBA, and this Suns team in this summer league did not have that at all, besides one player, and that player being David Roddy. Now, David Roddy in this contest did not have the greatest performance, but we're not going to be looking at David Roddy specifically in this breakdown of this game. Honestly, the Suns didn't really have their greatest game here. Michael DeVoe looked to be like a solid point guard and looked like he could be a nice contributor. Boo Bowie did pretty decent. Quindary Witherspoon did solid. And obviously, our guy in Jalen Bridges, who's on that two-way contract, who a lot of Suns fans believe can be a diamond in the rough, looked solid in his first outing as well. But honestly, looking at this Suns team, nothing really stood out from that Golden State Warriors matchup. Now, if we want to look at the matchup versus obviously the Indiana Pacers, this one was a little bit of a closer matchup, and we saw some likes of some things. Dunn looked to be a little bit better into the offense. Even though he didn't have the greatest performance, 0 for 4 from 3, 2 for 9 from the field, he looked like a little bit of a better version of himself. Roddy was a little bit more consistent on the offensive side. We saw Oso Ighodaro and Michael DeVoe really take over. Oso Ighodaro, 4 for 4 from the field in this game with a solid total of 9 rebounds, a couple of assists, plus 12, a minus of 12, and 16 points. That's what I'd like to see. And Boo Buie was one of our leading scorers and contributors for this team as well. Oh, sorry, no, he wasn't. But Quindary Witherspoon did solid. Quindary Witherspoon is on that G League team, so I can see him kind of working and competing. But I did like the progress from Roddy, from Bridges, and from Ryan Dunn alongside Oso Ighodaro. Now, if you want to look at the third game here, this is versus the Thunder. This is the game where David Roddy kind of came to life and showed the Suns fans what he really can do. 21 points, 7 for 13 from the field, 50% from three, hitting a game-tying three, and then getting those game-winning free throws was clutch out of a player in David Roddy. DeVoe even looked pretty solid as well in this game, 6 for 6 from the free throw line, 16 total points. Bridges had 11, and Isaiah Wong, ladies and gentlemen, came through the mud. That is right. 0 for 6 for 8, 6 for 8 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3-point range, 6 for 7 from the free throw, notching a solid game for the Phoenix Suns here and really showcasing what he can bring for this Suns roster. When looking at the last two games here as well, this one was versus the Milwaukee Bucks, which again Isaiah Wong was on fire. 7 for 9 from the field, 4 assists, 19 total points, and being one of those rising stars at the end of the Summer League. Jalen Bridges also had a solid game, 6 for 14 from the field, with 16 points. And David Roddy, once again, solid on the offensive side with a 14-point mark as well. When looking at David Roddy, my kind of initialization is just we want him to be the contributor, we want him to be that scorer, we want him to be that vocal leader, and he has seemingly done this for the Phoenix Suns in all these games. It was a little bit of a rough start, but in game 3, in game 4, he did come to life for this Suns team. And then finally, looking at this final game, as we all know, the Suns finished their summer league. They took on the Kings last night. Got an unfortunate loss where Roddy and Bridges didn't have the greatest shooting night. Wong was pretty decent from the field though as well. 6 for 10 from the field with 1 rebound and 15 points. Tyrese Samuel, a guy from Seton Hall who I personally like, did not really produce this much this summer league and didn't look the greatest. But Boo Booey, some inconsistent shooting nights and some contributing pieces as well. So honestly, looking at this team, looking at this roster, there are some pieces that kind of stick out and scream to me. And one of those guys being Isaiah Wong. And talking about Isaiah Wong, we're going to be discussing, is he going to be a two-way guy or is he going to be a G League guy? Because Isaiah Wong was on the Pacers last year, led U Miami to that Final Four 2 seasons ago, signed a deal with the Pacers last year on a one-year deal, was not brought back, went to the Suns for their summer league, and balled out, ladies and gentlemen. Those last 3, obviously, the first 2 games, he was a little slow off the bench, but game 3, game 4, game 5, he really took control. And in game 4 versus Milwaukee, he was that focal point on offense in that first half for the Phoenix Suns. So a guy like Isaiah Wong, I could easily see getting that remaining two-way contract alongside Colin Gillespie and alongside Jalen Bridges. I could see him easily fitting into that two-way spot, working in with this Suns team, kind of playing up and down. We see him have a solid college career. And with the Pacers, he looked decent in his year 1, just wasn't given the opportunity because the Pacers were not as young, not as, kind of working through and trying to find out their players. They already had guys like Halliburton, uh, Mathurin, Turner, and then bringing in Siakam. They already had their kind of mojo going. But with the Suns, Isaiah Wong can kind of come in, be that last two-way guy, kind of fill in his spot, or if not, can work in with that G League team. From looking at the other guys as well from this summer league, like I mentioned, David Roddy looked like more of a contributor on the offensive side of the ball. Could be that scorer for this Suns team off the bench, and still raises that question mark of why Nazir Little is still on this roster. Even more to the fact that David Roddy's on a cheaper deal and looks like he could be a bigger contributor than Nazir Little can. Then when you look at Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro, the 2 rookies that the Suns drafted, Oso looking like he could be a low post scorer. I'm really liking what I see out of him. I think his offensive game has more than what Suns fans initially thought, and it could be developed a little bit more. He's a solid rim protector, solid paint protector as well. And I think throughout the season he's going to get better and better. I don't necessarily think he's going to be initially into the rotation, but I do think that he'll get some shine here and there depending on some injuries and how this Suns team looks to be in the standings with this stacked Western Conference. Ryan Dunn, I've mentioned this in videos before. If he doesn't need that offensive game. He just needs to be a lockdown defender. If he can turn into that Jaden McDaniels or that Herbert Jones-esque defender for the Phoenix Suns, they are set, they are straight. It takes away all the discrepancies of their bad turnover ratio, their inconsistent shooting. If you can have that lockdown wing defender for the future, golly, they are set up like a guy like Herbert Jones, like Jaden McDaniels, who can guard 2 through 5 and take care of guys. That's what you want to see. And like I mentioned, Isaiah Wong possibly could be that last two-way spot, could possibly be that last G League spot, could be a G League spot. He is a young creative scorer, has that offensive game built into him, kind of a point guard, shooting guard-esque type of guy who can shoot the ball at an efficient rate. I know that the Suns already have guys like that, but if you have a young guy with untapped potential, might as well invest into it. You already saw him produce in your summer league. You want to keep him in your team, especially with this G League team, not necessarily knowing if they're going to get all the guys they drafted in that G League lottery on their squad. Definitely have a guy like Isaiah Wong in the works for either a G League spot or for a last two-way spot. I personally think he deserves the last two-way spot. I know that the roster is completely full. I'll have to wait and see what the Suns do. I'm still in the boat. If Roddy's looking good, you have all these wings. Move off of Nazir Little, try to get another veteran minimum point guard, and bring up Isaiah Wong on that two-way spot. That is my perfect Suns checklist. Let me know your guys' perfect Suns checklist for the offseason. And let me know what you guys think about the Summer League so far. Like I mentioned, Summer League is over. We're going to have a bunch of content breaking down the Suns daily for you guys. I know I've been slacking, but I will keep it back up. So we'll have content for you guys coming out over the next couple of days, detailing some stuff around this Suns team. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, as this is the place for you. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'm Bruce Veliz. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Suns Digest. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day and go Phoenix Suns.